And we're back.
Episode 64 of the Horror Guys.
The Horror Guys.
Uh-huh.
That's
I'm Kevin.
us. And I'm
Kevin.
Brian.
Yep.
And 64 episodes in, we've got, believe it or not,
We got movies. We got movies to talk about.
Will we have spoilers about these movies?
We sure will.
Oh, yeah.
You will. Are warned.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about them. But it doesn't mean you should.
May not spoil all of them, but yeah, we probably will.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll spoil.
All right. So this week, we'll be discussing some more great old and new horror.
Mm-hmm.
We'll begin with House of Horrors from 1946.
Careful how you say that.
Yeah. Get hyped up with 1965's Die, Die, My Darling. Stop for a Bite with 2007 Hansel and Gretel. And then feel Depraved from 2019.
With a movie called Depraved.
Yeah. And somewhere along the line, we'll also have An Hour to Kill. An indie film.
An indie film that somebody was nice enough to send us a link to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep. So, House of Horrors, eh?
There was a house, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
In 1946.
Except this movie's not about a house.
No, not
You'd think
really.
with a name like that, it'd be a haunted house or a ghostly
like
castle.
a wax museum kind of place, or some attraction like it's called the House of Horrors.
It's got a couple of apartments in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. The title doesn't really match. Yeah.
1946, House of Horrors, a Universal classic, directed by Gene Yarbrough, written by George Bricker and Dwight Babcock, stars Robert Lowry, Virginia Gray, Bill Goodwin, and Rondo Hatton. 1 hour and 5 minutes.
And this one did kind of feel more like a classic, with Rondo Hatton in it.
This is not a big name film. You don't hear this. You hear about Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman and the Creature. This guy you don't hear that much about anymore, but he's very familiar once you see him.
Yeah, you've probably seen stills of him.
Yeah.
Because he's a very distinctive looking guy. He played the Creeper.
The Creeper, yes.
A case of acromegaly. And
in real life.
Yeah, in real life, the actor. Big jaw, big forehead, big hands, odd physique. Very strange looking fella.
Yeah. Okay. Did you like it?
Overall, yeah. It was pretty good.
I liked this more than I expected to.
Me too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was actually one of the...
Yeah, I'd give it a thumbs up.
Maybe in the top... Certainly in the top 10. Maybe in the top 5 of the Universal so far. Which is saying a lot.
Yeah, it is.
It's up there with Dracula and Frankenstein and those guys.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't have more credit and more cred.
Well, it doesn't have a real monster exactly.
Yeah, he's a person.
He was literally known as the monster without makeup. He's big and he's scary and he's kind of ugly, but that was real.
They enhanced it a little bit, but not much.
No, I don't think much.
No.
Maybe a little bit of makeup to make the shadows deeper or something. But
yeah, exactly.
That was all real.
Yeah, it's not prosthetics. It looked like that. Yeah.
Well, Marcel Delange, I don't know, is a sculptor. All he has is bread and cheese to eat, and he can't even afford to feed his cat.
The cat likes cheese.
And he gives the cat a long speech about how the cat was lucky he can go hunt his own food. His customer comes in and brings an art critic along with him for advice. The critic says the culture is pure, unadulterated tripe with an overtone of lunacy. He's extremely rude. Delange chases him off with his bread knife, of course with no sale.
And the sculpture wasn't that bad. It was kind of neat, I thought. But
I'm
no art critic. So.
Well, he is an art critic, but he doesn't care. It's not about what he likes or doesn't like. He doesn't like to give anybody any credit.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. There's a difference between a reviewer and a critic, and he takes the critic to the max. He did, yeah.
Never saw an artwork he liked.
Yeah.
Well, Delange smashes his own statue in frustration and then goes out for a walk to clear his head. He sees a man trying to climb out of the river, and he goes to help him. It's the perfect Neanderthal man, according to Delange. Mm-hmm. He takes the man home and feeds him.
I will sculpt you and make you art, make you my statue.
That wonderful
you will be my model.
Neanderthal face. The man asks if Delange knows who he is. Delange doesn't care. He just wants him to pose for a statue. And the man agrees to stay on and pose for the statue. After the first session, the tall man goes outside and follows a woman down the street. He then strangles her and snaps her spine. It's all shown in shadows. you sort of get the impression that he like folds them over backwards to break their backs because he's big and monstrously strong.
Yep.
The inspector investigating the case almost immediately thinks of a link to one of the Creeper's murders, and he points out that they never did find the Creeper's body.
Must have gotten knocked into the river. And
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The next morning, DeLange reads the paper to the man complaining about the critic's bad article about him. The big man doesn't like how the critic treated DeLange, who wishes he could tear the critic apart. The man then goes to see Mr. Harmon, one of the most pretentious critics ever, played by Alfred the Butler from Batman 1966. Harmon is busy arguing with Joan, an art reporter who thinks he's way too harsh on young artists. As soon as she leaves, the big man goes into Harmon's office and kills him. Folds him right up.
I like how Harmon was putting the moves on her. Oh. Yeah. Good.
Would you like to go out with me? And she's like, Grandpa, no.
Quite an age difference there.
He was a lot younger here than he was in Batman.
True,
days,
yeah. I
mean, he was not her age.
A decent looking fellow and, distinguished, but yeah.
Yeah.
out of her league.
So was her father and grandfather at that point.
Yeah.
Detective Brooks goes to see Steve Morrow, a painter who was the target of Harmon's most recent review. Joan comes in and gives Steve an alibi, so it couldn't have been him.
Nope.
Meanwhile, DeLange reads the paper, and he knows exactly what's happened. He didn't intend it, but he knows now at this point.
Yeah.
Joan comes to see DeLange, and Joan peeks at the in-process statue of the Creeper, while DeLange is in the other room. But the big man watches her do it.
Yeah, he's hiding when she comes visit.
Yeah. Steve doesn't like DeLange, and he tells Joan about it. He thinks DeLange is crazy. He could be right.
Yeah, could be.
Detective Brooks goes to see Mr. Ormiston, another critic, who agrees to be bait and a trap for Morrow. He writes a review that really slams Morrow. He compares Morrow to that well-known madman DeLange. This time, DeLange works things to obviously give the wink-wink, nudge-nudge to the big man. You wouldn't want to go... No, it would be a shame if something happened to Mr. Ormiston. Morrow goes to confront Ormiston, and they argue. Morrow grabs him by the neck, and the detectives come in and nail him in the act. Obviously, Morrow is the murderer. He's attacked the critic. However, while the police are in the very next room questioning Morrow, the Creeper stalks into the kitchen and kills Ormiston. One room away from two cops and the artist.
So he's no longer a suspect.
Not so much. Joan comes back to talk to DeLange some more, and she asks about his new sculpture. She peeks at his drawing of the Creeper, which she steals when the Creeper sees her do it. The drawing. The newspaper editors figure out what's going on because the Creeper was well known from his first murder, but Joan has already left and they can't notify her.
In a previous movie.
I don't know.
Was there? It must have been a prequel, yes?
There was a couple of different Creeper movies. This was the first one filmed, but the second one aired for some reason.
So we don't know for
sure. And there may be others, because I know the one we're going to watch next week has him in it too, and I think it may be the same character.
Second of 3 Creeper films.
Yeah. They only made 2 because he died right after this one.
Yeah.
So, we'll watch...
His health was not good.
What are we going to watch? The Spider-Woman Strikes Back next week, which is one of his other movies. So we'll see. And then he also made The Brute Man, which we've got, but it's not really on the schedule yet. So, I don't know. We're going to see several of his movies before he's done. Okay, so the Creeper goes to Morrow's house and encounters Stella the model, who has nothing to do with any of this, but she doesn't put up much of a struggle. He had intended to kill Joan, but couldn't tell the two women apart. Detective Brooks comes by and finds the body. Meanwhile, DeLange explains the whole thing to Joan, knowing she'll soon be dead. Let me tell you my evil plan. DeLange explains that he'll let the police grab the Creeper, but the Creeper hears this and turns on him, folding him up like a wet blanket. The Creeper then destroys the statue and comes after Joan. Steve and Detective Brooks shoot the Creeper. Joan explains that she had no idea the sketch she stole was the Creeper after all. It was pure coincidence, all of it.
Yep. Did you know that Robert Lowry, who played Morrow, there was another Batman DC connection. He played Batman in the 1949 version of Batman and Robin.
I I don't think I've ever seen any Batman
besides
movies or TV before the Adam West.
Alfred the Butler, Adam, yeah.
All right.
A double DC connection.
Batman versus the Creeper. Rondo Hatton has been described as a monster without makeup. He does have a very distinctive look, but he died shortly after this film. DeLange looks thoroughly insane and plays it well. Detective Brooks is a fairly generic protagonist, but he's likable enough to get by. There's nothing especially new about the film, or nothing that really stands out exactly, but it does all fit together really well. And this is one of the more entertaining Universal films we've seen recently.
Yeah.
I definitely
Overall,
recommend it.
Highly recommend, yeah.
I mean, he's interesting to look at, and the story is pretty straightforward. It doesn't get boring.
Yeah.
It's got a lot going for it, but
moves nicely.
I can't point out anything that's really outstanding about it, but I did like it.
Yeah.
All right, which takes us to the Hammer film of the week.
Die, Die, My Darling.
Also known as Fanatic in England. It was filmed and released as Fanatic by Hammer in the UK, and then they wanted to rename it Die, Die, My Darling for American release, and the stars went berserk. They did not like that. And the main star sounded like she was kind of berserk to begin with.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Someone
she was
quite past her prime.
Yeah, an old time Tallulah Bankhead.
Yeah.
Where she was never really huge back in the day, but she was an item back in the day.
In like the 30s, I think.
Yeah. Model gorgeous. Did modeling and some movie work, and then at this point she's kind of
old lady number 72.
Old and a little bit washed up, I think. And I mean, her performance in this is pretty stellar, I think.
Well, they hired her for her name. I mean, anybody of a certain age could have played this part. I didn't think she did that outrageously well.
No, I thought she did a mighty fine job.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Directed by Silvio Nerozano, written by Richard Matheson and Ann Blaisdell, stars Tallulah Bankhead, Stephanie Powers, and Peter Vaughan. Hour and 37 minutes.
And Donald Sutherland in one of his earliest roles.
Not on the main credits at all.
No, Yeah, kind of a supporting role and no dialogue because he was a mute.
Yeah.
Well, barely.
He grunted a few words, but not really lines.
Not really, yeah.
But yeah, it's always funny to see one of those people who's a really big name person now who was
huge,
an extra back then.
Yeah, this was 1965, and he was 30 then, wasn't he? Yeah,
he didn't look real young.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
But he was a simple-minded fellow.
Very.
The character, yeah. And yeah, he was 30. Yeah.
Speaking of simple-minded, did you like it?
Not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weak.
A little bit.
I think my biggest complaint with this, well, the main plot is this woman goes out to the old farmhouse and gets captured by the old lady and she can't get escape until she does.
Yeah.
But there were so many opportunities for her to fight back, hit the old woman, hit the servant.
Grab a vase and start smashing everybody with it.
Something.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh no, I'm a prisoner for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't man up enough. She should have manned up her.
A little bit wouldn't have hurt.
Yeah. It wouldn't have taken much. I mean, the old lady did have a gun, but she was half the time she had it pointed off to the side or wherever, and frail old lady, and it would have been easier to take her, gun or not. Yeah, but she didn't. Yeah,
this is one of those situations where somebody would say, "Oh, that's great," but it's not you with the gun being pointed at you. But this takes place over a period of a week at least. And yeah, she'd have calmed down and she would have had the opportunities. Yeah. Maybe not the first time she pointed the gun at her, but many
the first time would have been shocking, but later, when she's ranting, the old lady's ranting and raving, and not paying attention, not actually aiming the gun at her, and
it stretched the limits of believability that anyone could be held prisoner like this.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
All right, well, we start out with the least horror-y opening credits and music ever, with cats and a mouse and Tom and Jerry style theme playing. It would have been a perfect introduction to a comedy. There's not much funny going on here, though.
No, there's not.
So Pat has arrived to stay with her fiancé for a few days before their wedding, but she explains that she also promised to visit Mrs. Trefoil, her dead fiancé's mother. Alan, her new fiancé, that escalated quickly, thinks that this is a really stupid idea, and he even says that. But
she feels obligated, and she wants to wrap things up, kind of have a closure kind of thing.
Loose ends.
Yeah, it's kind of a closure for her.
So instead of him going with her, he loans her the car, and she drives out to the country to find Mrs. Trefoil's home. And it's way out there, so she'll have to spend the night somewhere on the trip. The creepy old lady welcomes her to her house and immediately asks if she's come there alone. Pat had been planning to marry poor Stephen, but he tragically died in an accident before that could happen. The old woman is very religious and insists that Pat goes to Mass with her the next morning.
Insanely religious,
which would require a sleepover. Well, the British name of the British title here was Fanatic. So yeah.
Yep, she is.
Pat notices that there aren't any mirrors in the house, but Mrs. Trefoil explains about the Bible and vanity. There are no mirrors here.
Vanity's a sin.
Yes. Pat realizes that she's dealing with a wacko, but she's very polite about it. They pray for literally hours before dinner. The old lady insists that she wipe off her filthy lipstick before dinner. And if this were me, I'd be sneaking out to my car right about now. But she plays along and does as she's told.
She's being polite.
And comes downstairs after wiping off her lipstick, and the dinner is all cleared away, and she gets none anyway. They cleaned that up quick, didn't they?
No, didn't they? Don't they like give her a biscuit or something, or plain?
Have a biscuit.
Yeah, something very plain.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, she wants to call Alan and tell him that she'll be late, but there's no telephone in the house. The old lady then asks if Pat is a virgin. Well, Mrs. Trefoil blathers on with her nonsense. Pat tags along, just waiting for this ordeal to end. Mrs. Trefoil then explains that Pat is actually married to Stephen already, and now a widow, since a betrothal is the same as a wedding. All right. Well, Pat lets it slip that she probably wouldn't have married Stephen anyway, and the old lady looks at her aghast, and then locks her in the bedroom. Pat watches from her bedroom as one of the servants locks her car in the barn. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they lock her in the attic, and then the fun begins. The servants do whatever Mrs. Trefoil says, since they plan to inherit everything after the old lady dies. During a struggle, Pat gets stabbed with a big pair of scissors, which I guess is supposed to weaken her quite a bit, so she can't fight back, but it doesn't look that bad.
It didn't look that bad, yeah.
Yeah. She offers the servants £2,000 to let her go, but that doesn't work out. At this point, it just becomes a game of can she escape or not. Eventually, the insanity gets to be too much for the servant Harry, and things go badly after that. Eventually, Mrs. Trefoil and Pat go down to the basement, where the mirrors are kept. Secrets are then revealed. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I've known far too many heavily religious people that talk and act just like Mrs. Trefoil, and her acting doesn't seem so far from reality for a lot of old people. Because we all know, old people are freaking scary sometimes.
Well, not as scary as she was. She was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't right.
Yeah. Pat fights like a girl, when just hitting someone with something heavy or sharp would have ended all the nonsense. She had 100 opportunities to simply jump on the old woman, even with her little gun, but she never really tried. And as you already said, Donald Sutherland had an early but small role as a very simple groundskeeper. He's there, but doesn't really do much or say anything beyond a few mumbles. Don't watch it for him, but it was a little bonus.
Want to hear some interesting trivia?
I do.
There was one of the lines that Tallulah Bankhead said, you must die, you must die, my darling, something along those lines.
The name of the film.
Well, it wasn't exactly worded like that.
You must die. You must die, my darling.
Yes, you must die, my darling. They had trouble with the audio, so it was one of those cases where the actor has to come into the studio and loop it, re-record it. She showed up just plastered, I guess. So plastered that it took like half the day to get her to do the line.
6 hours to do one line.
Just a line, yeah. And years later, it was 2013, Stephanie Powers, who plays the captive gal, played, there was a theatrical production based on the true story of Tallulah Bankhead's life and events in her life and everything called Looped. And she played Tallulah Bankhead in this play, long after Tallulah Bankhead was gone.
You went crazy? I remember crazy.
Yeah. Well, I guess she had a colorful life, and was events about the movie, and
But from all the stories I read about this and the trivia, the old lady was, Tallulah Bankhead was a former star, like you said, and she had been spoiled rotten in the 20s and the 30s, and in the 65, she hadn't done a movie in like 15 years. So she wouldn't admit it, but she was desperate to do the film, and the producers needed a big name to play the old lady, and it was just a disaster. The whole filming process was just not good because of her prima donna type needs.
And maybe alcoholism.
Oh, yeah, definitely alcoholism, yeah. All right. Well, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling depraved.
I'm depraved as well. You want to be depraved? There's a film by that name. 2019's Depraved, directed by Larry Fessenden, written by him too. He's got a little cameo in the bar scene. Stars David Call, Joshua Leonard, Alex Brew. Runtime 1 hour 54 minutes. Link in the show notes for Amazon. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, it was tragic though. Man, I mean, they take the factor in the original Frankenstein of the monster being really a victim, and they ramp it up in this one. Boy, that poor guy.
Yeah, just from the name, I was expecting, some wild sex-crazy thing, and there's nothing like that in
Not
this.
what I expected. It's a modern Frankenstein story.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
So it's a high thumbs up for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Was.
I liked it too. Well, Alex and Lucy talk about having a child, but they both agree that it's not a good time to do that. It quickly devolves into a fight because he feels that he's let her down. It's his birthday, and she gives him a necklace. On his way home, Alex is randomly stabbed repeatedly and dies in the street.
And then the credits roll.
Credits roll.
And then he wakes up.
But wait, there's more.
What?
He wakes up in what looks like a...
Sort of. I mean,
Yeah.
He's in a... I mean, his mind is not quite right. His memories are not right.
Yeah.
It's him in there. He wakes up. It's in a different body. A composite body made of parts.
You heard that story before.
Oh, heard this, yeah. This
Well,
is something
he
familiar.
Wakes up in what looks like a home lab. His arm is made of various pieces sewn together. He gets out of bed and looks at himself in the mirror. He's a collection of spare parts. Henry comes in and looks really surprised that it worked.
And I'm surprised that he's up and awake, standing, and
Then he names the created man Adam. Henry shows Adam around and tells him he wants to keep Adam safe. Adam still dreams about his life as Alex.
Yeah, that's the only time really that his memories seem to fully be there is when he's dreaming. And then he wakes up and then he's
doesn't
confused
remember most
again.
of it.
Yeah.
He has to take various drugs, including one that keeps him alive. Henry tries to teach Adam various things, but Adam is in his own little world of memories. And it shows all these little colors floating around, which is kind of a neat effect, that he's not quite all there.
Yeah. And it's anti-rejection drugs and antibiotics and vitamins and things like that. But
Plus a special ingredient.
But it is a special ingredient that's keeping him animated, that this guy developed.
Yeah. Eventually they figure out that music helps Adam learn. His education proceeds pretty quickly after that. We get Henry's backstory about being a doctor in Afghanistan and some of what he did over there, and then his decision to put people together back home. Henry's girlfriend...
And it turns out he developed this drug over there and was doing experiments over there. He
didn't have the drug over there. He was just sewing dead people back together.
No.
He really lost his mind. He didn't get the drug until the other guy comes into it.
No, the one soldier was dead. He brought him back.
I don't think he did.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he injected him with his special elixir.
Well...
And brought him back to life.
He was a doctor. I think he just brought him back to life.
Oh, I think it was his experimental stuff.
Okay.
I think he was tampering
with it.
I
got the impression that Polidori was the drug guy, and he created it.
No, he created it, and this guy fully helped him develop it.
Okay.
He didn't have the bugs worked out. But anyway, there was he's a medical medic in Afghanistan. Guy gets blown up and he was dead.
Yeah.
And he injected him with the stuff and brought him back briefly. And then he died for real.
And Henry went a little crazy after that.
Yeah,
no doubt about that one.
Yeah.
Henry's girlfriend Liz stops by and talks to Adam. and she claims Henry has PTSD, but he denies it. Yeah, he does. We also meet Polidori, who came up with the magic drug, or maybe not, and he expects to become rich and famous because of it.
Yeah, I think he worked on fully developing it into a working formula with him.
All right.
Because it wasn't quite working. It was only, like a temporary,
very brief,
temporary spurt.
Henry is starting to have second thoughts about the whole thing, and then Polidori takes Adam outside to see the museum, and he points out that humanity is utterly depraved.
Yeah.
And that's where the title comes from. They run into Lucy, Alex's former girlfriend. She doesn't recognize him at all because it's a whole different body, but he has a spark of recognition.
And you realize that wasn't an accident. Them running into her. Polidori set that up.
Yeah, he
knew very well who.
We're heading into spoiler territory there.
Yeah.
So Henry discontinues Adam's medication, something that Polidori specifically warned Adam about.
Because Henry's kind of getting fed up with the whole thing and wants it over. And,
Henry then gives Adam his old necklace back. Then he finds some videos that explains far more than Adam really wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we're going to say.
And Adam learns more of the whole story.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting choice to have Alex and Adam played by completely different actors, since only Alex's brain was used in the new creature. But in the beginning, it looked like Alex was going to be a real character, and that actor just never really came back. He was dead.
Yeah.
All the acting here is excellent, and the story is fascinating from start to end. Unlike 98% of Frankenstein-like films, people here all act relatively like real people would in this situation.
Yeah,
At
they do.
no point does anyone say, there are some things men were not meant to know, which is my own personal gripe with Frankenstein movies. They're all like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Might not be moral or ethically right, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That said, after an interesting and very different first hour, the second half goes about as one would expect with this kind of film, but still manages to do it very well. At one point, Adam stops taking the red pills, and nothing really comes of that, even though we're told that he's going to die very quickly without them.
Seems to not be the case.
Apparently he didn't really need them after all, but no one ever really brings it up. And overall, this is kind of a slow burn, but it's very good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And we didn't spoil it very much.
Not really. Well,
No.
there's 40 minutes in or so.
There's still things that happen.
There's a lot more goes on.
Yeah, a lot more to it. Yeah.
Alrighty. Did you happen to see a foreign film this week?
I saw one called Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel.
Loosely based on the fairy tale.
So you got two little German children out in the woods and the witch eats them, right?
Not exactly. There's a house in the woods.
There is, and there's
there's
children.
Lots of sweets, and there's children.
Oh, yeah, the sweets in the house.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is from 2007, and it's Korean subtitled. Directed by Pil Sung Yim, written by Ji Hai Kim and Min Suk Kim, stars Jung Myung Chong, I'm not making that up, Yun Won Ju, and Yun Kyung Shim. Okay, I'm doing good to that last one.
Yeah.
Hour and 57 minutes.
You like it?
Mostly. Mostly. I think it dragged a bit, but it was good. Would have been a really good hour and a half film.
I think it could have been trimmed maybe a bit, but overall, very good.
Yeah.
Liked it.
It never really gets boring. It just
No.
some things just go on a little too long.
No, I wouldn't go as far as to say boring. No.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Well, we see a man running down a road, and he says something vaguely creepy and cryptic for a few seconds until the credits roll. I was still typing my stuff and not paying that close of attention, but I don't think it had anything to do with the plot, did it?
No, not really.
Yeah. It's just like you could maybe a little flash forward to know that he survives at the end or something because he's running away. Yeah. Well, a young man is driving down the road, and his young wife calls to nag about her pregnancy. He wrecks the car, distracted by the call. He wakes up to find himself wandering alone in the woods, apparently very lost, until he passes out.
And then he finds a little girl.
He wakes up after dark to find a young woman standing over him with a lantern. She says her name is Young Hee Kim, and he is Yun Soo. She claims to be out looking for her sister's hairpin in the forest at night. Finally, they come to a very nice house with a sign out in front naming it the House of Happy Children. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Inside the house, it's like Christmas every day.
It's Christmas. Yeah, literally. There's decorations and
trees,
toys and festive and lights and sweets, and it's just a magical place.
You soon find out that every day is Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's like Christmas every day, very lively and colorful. Yun-Soo is introduced to the whole family. They don't have a telephone, and they seem impossibly nice. And you just know from the first scene that something isn't quite right here.
Yeah, at this point I really had an inkling of the big picture of what was going on.
Yeah, you don't see anything. You can just tell from the way the people are acting.
Not right. The parents seem too nervous, and the kids seem too off. Yeah.
Yeah, about this point, I had the whole thing figured out
without
not
some
the
details, but the rough idea of what was going on.
It's not a secret at this point. Well, then day one flashes up on the screen, and you know it's going to be one of those kind of films.
He wakes up in bed, his own bedroom, which is fully decorated with toys and rabbits. Lots of rabbits and toy rabbits and art cartoons of rabbits. That was a recurring theme.
Yeah, rabbits seem to be a major theme here.
Yeah, but what wakes him up is a Santa Claus that's playing music, is the alarm clock.
Wake up, it's time for breakfast.
Yeah. Guess what breakfast is? Donuts.
Candy.
Sweets. Pastries.
Well, the whole family has cupcakes and candy for breakfast, and it's all for him. They don't eat. After they see him eat, they start eating. After breakfast, he sets off through the woods back to the road, but it soon gets dark and he gets lost again, even though it should still be morning.
It's like an endless maze that you can't get out of.
He finds himself in front of the same house. He asks the couple to help him through the woods in the morning, and they make uncomfortable excuses. Oh, I'm on vacation. I don't have to go in this week, and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't have a phone. We can't call. Well, the phone's out of order, but we called for service, and then they realize,
how do you call for service when your phone's out of order?
Yeah, whoops, that lie didn't work.
Yeah, the children are very happy and the parents are uncomfortable, and I'm already getting a certain Twilight episode vibe about this time.
Yeah, there was a Twilight episode, Twilight Zone episode. Yeah.
Yun-Soo tells the children to think of him as their brother. The next morning, the children are crying as the parents have gone off and left them all in his care. Yeah, it happens so often.
Yeah.
The eldest girl says he should have marked his way with breadcrumbs to find his way back out of the forest. You got your Hansel and Gretel reference.
There's a reference there, yeah.
Soon, Yun-Soo starts seeing ghosts in the attic. On the third day, the children give him a map through the woods. But he runs into another couple coming the opposite way, heading toward the house because it's snowing now.
Yes, then the weather comes and goes. Sometimes it's winter and sometimes it seems to be summery, and
this whole thing goes over a period of 3 or 4 days, but there's a blizzard in the middle.
The weather changes completely.
Kind of disappears. The children are luring in another couple. The snow gets deeper and deeper, and Yun-Soo has to finally return to the house. And this is on day 3. By day 4, and you can see there's like 10 feet of snow outside.
Yeah, piles.
Day 4,
it's gone. It's all not green. A trace of it. Yeah,
and I don't think it's a mistake.
Which is another no, not at all. Yeah. No, it's the screwed up reality of
The new couple don't really go in for spoiled children, and the children turn against them fairly quickly. Yun-Soo then finds the original mother hiding in the attic, and she explains everything. Then things start getting worse for Yun-Soo. Well, the first thing you notice about this is how colorful and bright it all is, and it stays that way for the most part. It's a slow burn of a movie, with the weirdness getting deeper and deeper without moving very quickly.
But mostly that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is explained at the end, and it all makes sense, but it does drag a little bit. The acting is good all around, the parents are suitably terrified, the strangers are suitably creepy, Yun-Soo is suitably bewildered, and the children alternate between innocent and demonic. Then again, we were about halfway through the film when Kevin asked if I had ever seen that one Twilight Zone episode that I mentioned 2 paragraphs ago.
Yeah, he recognized it too.
So the lack of originality wasn't just clear to me. This is definitely not an original idea, but then again, what would you expect from Hansel and Gretel?
Hansel and Gretel isn't an original idea. They mishmashed it together, kind of. What was the name of that episode? Life is Good.
No, I don't think so. I think it's A Good Life. It's A Good Life.
It's A Good Life, okay.
Which was a story.
Are we going to tell what that was?
Episode 73.
Well, It's kind of a spoiler, but
It's a Good Life by Jerome Bixby was the original story.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has been a story. It's been at least one Twilight Zone episode. I think the remake of Twilight Zone
Actually,
did it as
yeah,
well.
I read the short story that the Twilight Zone was based on. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, so did I. It's a Good Life.
Yeah.
For the no spoilers. All right.
No spoilers.
Okay, and that's all. Oh no!
No,
wait, we have an
hour to kill.
Yes.
An indie movie.
Yeah, another indie movie. 2018 is the official release date. I don't know when it was really released. I think it's more recent than that. Directed by Aaron K. Carter, written by him and Ronnie Jimenez. Stars Mel Novak, Frankie Pozos, and Aaron Guerrero. Hour and 36 minutes. And there's an Amazon link in the show notes if you want to pick up a copy. Did you like it?
Yes. Needed more Mel Novak.
Yeah, everything needs more Mel Novak.
I need a shirt that says that. Needs more Mel.
I'm sure if you wrote to him, he'd be glad to send you one. I am really mixed on this one.
Well,
This started out so bad, but it ended so good.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I had this horrible
The
review
climax
halfway
of it
written
is-
halfway through this film, and then I deleted most of
The
it.
ending makes it all worth it. It does.
It does. Okay, well,
No, but even the beginning, I didn't think was wasn't bad, wasn't awful.
the first segment, not the wraparound.
It didn't show me nearly as much as the ending did.
It's an anthology.
It's an anthology.
With
Yes.
3 main stories and a wraparound story. So there's 4
Yeah.
stories going on there.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Frankie walks into a bar and wants to talk to the owner, who is not available. Meanwhile, another guy named Gio breaks in and kills all the bigwigs in the back room while Frankie keeps the bartender occupied.
That escalated quickly.
They leave and get in the car, obviously working together. Frankie was just a distraction.
Yep.
Well, Gio goes in to see Mr. Kinski, Mel Novak, who isn't happy that Mr. Arash has gotten away from their carefully planned hit. He says someone tipped off Arash, and he thinks it's Frankie. Kinski gives Gio 1 hour to take care of the problem, and Gio goes outside and tells Frankie, "We have 1 hour to kill." A little bit of a double meaning going on there. Frankie, of course, is oblivious to all this. As they drive, Frankie tells the story of an old Nazi bunker located right there in Hollywood. Because, Nazis invaded Hollywood. But the son of one of those Nazis was never found and is said to still be hiding there. And, of course, this is the lead-in to the first story, which is Valkyrie's Bunker, the first segment of the anthology, which takes place in 1981. Makes the math work out from Nazis. 5 girls go into the bunker looking for drugs or something, I'm not really clear on what they were going for anymore, that are supposed to be hidden there. They split up, and the girls start disappearing, one by one.
Hilarity ensues.
Back in the real world, Frankie and Gio go out for tacos on the way to the hit, and Frankie tells another story. This one concerns a foodie with hopes of winning a 10-pound burrito eating contest. The second tale is called Assacre. Yeah. The contestants have 10 minutes to eat and are not allowed a bathroom break. Like, who'd need a bathroom break in 10 minutes to eat? I'm thinking somebody never been to a food eating contest.
10 minutes isn't very long.
Yeah. You got to eat 5 minutes and go poop for an hour? I don't know. The burritos look normal and yummy, but there's no way those things are close to 10 pounds. 2 of the guys decide to take revenge on the winner by employing the hottest of peppers. The guy can't resist becoming the king of peppers and eats one.
Bad move.
Yeah, big move.
Yeah.
The thing is, I have seen all this happen for real on YouTube already, and with nearly the same result. Okay, finally it's Gio's turn to tell a story. He tells the story of the hog hunters.
I'm laughing just thinking about it.
Farmer Zed loves his prize hog maybe a little too much. He tells the hog, "No one teases me like you do. I'm going to give you something tonight. You're going to squeal for me." Elsewhere, 3 bowlers welcome Lenny, a new member, to their team. But Lenny still has to pass their initiation ritual, so it's time to slam a hog. What does that mean? Well, a couple of the guys start singing, "We're going hog hunting, we're going hog hunting," while wearing pig snouts. I wish we had some pig snouts. We should wear those.
Oh, we should have for this one, yeah.
Okay. So then they head off to Farmer Zed's house, and then we get back to Geo and Frankie, and it's time for Geo to kill Frankie. But Geo thinks he may have another idea. Will he save the day, or will he become a sacrifice himself? Tune in and find out when you have an hour to kill.
Yeah.
It's well shot and well lit and mostly well written. I like a lot of humor in my horror, but the stories here are more edging into the realm of silliness.
And I thought the first two ended too abruptly. First one especially.
Yeah, the first one, no.
What?
Yeah.
That's it? That's done? It just seemed really cut off.
Yeah.
Like there should have been just a little bit more.
The second one was good, but you're right, it cut off a little quickly too.
That one too.
The first one though, no,
First
there's
one,
just nothing good to say about that first one.
But you're not done yet. That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I learned one important fact while watching this film. So I don't drink enough for this job. Seriously, you'd have to be pretty plastered to enjoy that first segment. But if you were, you would. So just a suggestion for when you watch it. After the god-awful first segment, did you get the feeling I didn't like the first segment?
I get the feeling you didn't like the first segment.
I did laugh at the second one.
We're in agreement there. Stick with it. If you don't like the first segment, stick with it.
Yeah. Stick through it.
Yeah.
I did laugh at the second one with the hot pepper, but still came to the conclusion at that point that the movie really wasn't going to be that good.
I was growing concerned.
Yeah. The first one was just horrible. The second one was good, but
Okay, I wouldn't say the H word, but yeah. Definitely they get better.
Which H word?
Horrible.
Oh, okay. No, it wasn't horrible.
I wouldn't say it was horrible. No.
The second one wasn't horrible. The second one was pretty decent.
Yeah.
I'll still go with horrible in the first one.
Okay,
so at least that's what I was thinking until Hog Hunters came on. It's just so out of nowhere and well filmed that I couldn't not like it once I finished laughing. It's worth sitting through the rest of the film for just for this segment. The third story was awesome, and the wraparound story was a little hammy, but decently acted.
Needed more mouth.
Hammy. You see what I did there?
I see what you did there. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. Sit through the first segment. It's only like 15 minutes, and you'll make it. You'll survive. But the other three are good. All right, so what do we think? House of Horrors, definite thumbs up from me.
Yeah, me too.
Die, My Darling, I'm very neutral on.
A weaker thumbs up.
Yeah,
from me.
I give it a solid 5. Hansel and Gretel,
thumbs up.
Go with a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, a strong thumbs up.
Depraved is a strong 9. And An Hour to Kill, I'll give it a good 7.
Yeah, thumbs up.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for this week. Thanks for joining us. Stop in during the week at our website, horrorguys.com, for all these reviews. And next week's films will be reviewed before we do the show, as always. Leave a comment in the YouTube comments. Send us an email at horrorguysmail@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or talk to us on social media. At Horror Bulletin on Twitter. Or Horror Guys Podcast Group on Facebook. It's always fun to say that.
Yeah.
Or give us a telephone call. We'd love to hear your voicemail.
Yeah, we have a real
937-453-1575.
How many podcasts give you a phone number to call?
It's a voicemail number, so you record your message. You don't have to worry about us picking up. But it'll be fun. So get ready for next week, where we'll be watching some more classics. We'll begin with the indie film M.O.M, Mothers of Murderers, which will be releasing in early March. You can't watch that one yet, but it will be by the time the show comes out.
We get to see it first.
You can climb over to where the Spider-Woman strikes back from 1946, take in a little bit of Hysteria from 1965, and then devour some Chaw from 2009.
A foreign film.
And we'll have a short in there too. What's the short called?
Daddy's Girl.
Daddy's Girl, yes.
I already saw the short.
Sounds like a good week.
Yeah.
You recommend the short?
I do.
There's your
I
preview.
already recommend it.
There's your preview.
Daddy's Girl. Check it out.
I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.